Hello and welcome to V8 Tech Work. So today we are going to continue integrating our backend with our admin dashboard, and also we are going to look at how we can be able to achieve or integrate authentication on our front end. So we are going to use Redux and Redux Toolkit, and also we are going to make sure that we can persist the data in our front end. So in this video, first thing that we are going to start with is to make sure that we can be able to show the data here for the users for delivered parcel and also for pending parcels here. And also we are going to see if we can be able to show that data here in this pie chart. So let's try and do that. So before that, kindly remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like this video, and maybe turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So now let's get into the tutorial. In every video, what we are trying to start with is we are going to push our code. So I'm going to come into this folder where we have our project, and the other thing that I'm going to do here is to make sure that I add the code that I added in the previous video, and then let us commit that. So git commit right now, because already in other video I have added or have actually explained about how we are tracking our code. I won't be able to do all that in this video, because you can go to the previous video and you'll understand. So in here I'm going to say continue with integration like that, integration, and then I'm going to push my code. So git push and then origin, and this time we are pushing integration branch. So let's do that. So and then also now we are going to add our passphrase, and then we can do the pull request. So let us push that code, and here you can be able to see that we have pushed the code. So let's check if we have pull request. So if I come here to my GitHub, you'll be able to see that we are going to have that pull request. So let me go to repos, and then we are pushing to this one here. So let me just click it, and here you'll be able to see this notification here. Integration had recent pushes 24 seconds ago. So I'm going to compare. So let me click here, compare, and pull request, and then here I can come to create pull request, and then after that now we can be able to checking for ability to merge automatically, and here we can be able to merge pull request and then confirm merge, and then after that now that will be the end of that merging. So now I'm going to close this and then continue here in our home page to be able to show users delivered parcel and pending parcels. So let me do that. So I'm going to close this nav bar here and also menu, so that I am going to deal only with the home. So I'm going to open home here, and I'm going to fetch the data first of all from our backend. As you know, right now we are using use effect. So let's do that. So here I'm going to do use effect. So use effect from, I'm going to get it from React. So just like that, you can see it has been imported here. The other thing is that here I need to make sure that I have the users and the parcels and variable. So here, so let me make sure that I import it. So here like that, and this, it will be array. So this one will be for parcels. So I'm going to have parcel here, and set parcels here. So the other thing is that also I'm going to copy this and paste it down here, and then this one will be for the users. So let me do that, and then here we have for the users, set users like that. So again, I want this to be imported in one line, both use effect and use state. So use state here like that. So if I do that, then it will be okay. So now I want to use this use effect here, And then use effect, the first argument in use effect here is just a function, and then we are going to have dependencies. Right now we don't have dependencies, so we are going to leave it like that. So here, inside here, I'm going to create a function. So let me create a function here called get parcels like that. And then let me have it like that. I'm going to call that function here get parcels, and then inside here now we are going to try and be able to now fetch the data. So inside here I can have a sync right here, because we are going to fetch the data and it will be asynchronous. So here we can say try catch, so that if we have error we can be able to get that error. So here I'm going to have const, and then this here is a await. So here we are going to call our public request. So public request, let me have it here. So I'm going to import it because it's as if we cannot be able to at least make sure that we can be able to import it. So let me come up here and copy it. So copy like that, and then up here where we have importing, we can be able to import there the public request. So I'm going to use public request. You can be able to see it there. And then this one is a get request, and we are getting from this route that is called parcels like that. And then the other thing that we can do here is we can be able to set parcels. So set parcels, and then right here we can say res.data like that, because that's where we have the data. So here we can say console.log, and then this one we can be able to show the error here, to console log the error. The other thing is that also we can be able to format my code. So format the code here, and then I can be able to copy this and then also paste it down here, but this time this one will be users. So let's do that. So users, and also here will be users. I think get users here will be also set users like that. Also here it will be get users. So this one will be just fine. So, and then also this we are going to access all users. Let's see. So users like that. So I think now this one will be okay. And then if I come up here and see where where we are having the error, so now we need to make sure that we use these parcels and users here to get the number of parcels that are delivered and the parcels that are pending. Also for the users here, we just need to show all users that we have in our system. In this case, what we are going to do is that, remember, for a parcel that has a status of 1, that means it's pending, but a parcel that has a status of 3, that means that it has been delivered. So we are going to do filtering, and remember you can do the filtering on your backend, and also you can do your filtering on the front end. In our case, we are going to do our filtering on our front end. That because we need to make sure that our system is not making unnecessary requests to our backend, and let us do that. So for example here, the first thing that I'm going to have is number. We can say something like users count here, and we can be able to use users and say users dot length, because this is an array. So that is a function in array, or a property in an array. So this one should be just users count. So here we need for the parcels, and I want to show you how for the parcel, and I had already prepared that. So I'm going to come up here and copy these 2 lines of code here. So copy that, and I'm going to paste it down here like that. So this one is just for delivered count, where we have parcels, and you can see what we are doing is that we are going to take parcels and then we filter, and then we take the parcel and we are going to filter using the status of 3. That means is a delivered parcel. And also for pending, we are filtering using a status of 1. So let's do that now. We can be able to show this variable here or these numbers in our system. And to do that, in case here, for example, for the pending parcels here, what we can do is that we can just make sure that we can display it here. Let me just show you. So here we can have pending, so pending count. So I think it is called pending count. Let me just confirm that. So it's pending count, yeah. So we have delivered count also. So let's make sure that we do that here, so we can have pending count here. So that is for pending parcel. If I come here also, we can have, this one is for the users. So I can use users count here. So users count, users count like that. And then I think the other one is for delivered. I think that I'm not able to show that, but it's right here. So for delivered parcels, so we can be able to do that here. So here we have delivered count like that. So if I do that, and then let me go back to my, here you can be able to see that we are able to show that we have two users. We have delivered parcels here, and we have pending parcels, which is 1. So you can see how easy it is to show that. So I'm going to also make sure that I can show the data in my pie chart here. So let me try and do that. So here for the variable, for the value here, I can be able to choose something or just display something like, let me just add something like user, users count, I think so. For pending, I can say pending count like that. And also here for the delivered, I can use delivered count. Let me show if I, let me see if I can do that and be able to show that. So yeah, you can be able to see that here we can show pending is 2. We have pending, which is 1, and maybe here we can show just users rather than rejected parcels. So here I'm going to come here and add users. So users like that. And then here we can say users count. So users count, as simple as that. So if I save this and then come back here, you can be able to see now we have users which are 2. We have pending parcel which is 2, and also we have pending parcel is 1. We have delivered parcel which is 2, and we have 2 users, and that information is just also being displayed up here. So that is it. And now what we are going to do, we are going to go to our front end here, and now we are going to make sure that we can be able to log in, because that is functionality that is very important. So let's do that, so that when a user come here, he can be able to enter the email and the password, and then when he or she is logged into our system, we can be able to see their parcels which they have sent there in our system. What we are going to do right here is to make sure that we can look at Redux Toolkit, because that's where we are going to make sure that we add our, or that's where we need to make sure that we store our user when we fetch our user from our backend. When our user login, we are going to use Redux Toolkit to be able to make sure that we can be able to store that user in our application, that is, so that we when also you reload, you cannot be able to lose that user information. So you can be able to see how you can be able to at least make sure that you install Redux Toolkit and also Redux. So you need these two. You need Redux Toolkit here and also React Redux. The other thing that in this we are going to need here is we are going to need to persist, so that when you reload that page, you won't be able to lose that user information in your application. So when user already or user reloads the application, he will or she will not be able to lose the information that is saved in that Redux. So we need also to know how to persist. So this one is for showing you how to use the to be able to use the Redux Toolkit, and also you can come here to usage guide and also other tutorials here. So for the tutorials also you can come here and learn more about Redux. So in this case, I'm not going to just show you everything about Redux. This one you'll be able to do on your free time. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how to use Redux and also be able to persist the data using Redux. So I'm going to install several things. So let me come here and open my terminal here. So open a new terminal, and I'm going to also navigate to our front end. So let me just go to front end here, and then here I can be able to install. So let me see the packages that I will need, because I had already documented them here. We need React Redux. So let me just install React Redux just like that. We need React Redux. So the other thing that I'm going to need is Redux Persist. So Redux persist here. And then also we are going to need another package, which is at Redux.js toolkit. So even I can be able to copy it like here. So let me just paste it here, and then let us install these packages. So these packages will help us to be able to have to be able to store our user in our users in our user in our application. So if you think about it, and another place that you can store your user in your application is maybe local storage, but I don't think local storage is very secure. And also I think there are other methods that you can store your user in. So I'm going to close this, and also I'm going to just make sure that I close the admin, and now I can come to this the front end here. So actually the other thing that I'm going to make sure is to create the request method, because remember we have to make that request to our backend. So this one is a request method.js, and here we are going to come here to admin, and in the request method here we can be able to copy everything here. But remember, we don't have the Axios, so we need also to install the Axios in our front end. So let's open again let's try and open the terminal. So I'm going to also make sure that I close this admin here, so that we can be able to have a space where we can work in. So if I open this and maybe select like this one here, I'm going to npm and then install this one. I don't know why it's not working the way I want, so I'm going to clear everything. So npm install and then Axios like that. So let's install this package here. And by installing this package, what we are going to do is that we are going to make sure that we can be able to use that package here, because right now, remember, in our front end we have not installed that we have not been able to install that package. So let me push this down. So now that is fine now. So the other thing, because now we have these request methods here, the other thing that I want to do right here is to make sure that I create a folder here, and this one we are going to have this folder and call it Redux, just like that. So here we can have now the Redux functionality in our application. And the first thing that we are going to do here is to create things that we need to have in a Redux. So if you have used Redux, you have to create a store. So the store is the main thing also, and you'll be able to create other things like slices. So let's do that. So inside this Redux here, we are going to create a user Redux, but if you want also to create other Redux, we can create, for example, if we want to store something like parcels in our Redux, we can always do that. So here we have this redux.js, and here this is where we are going to create reducers and also slice. So I'm going to import, first of all, let me import here. We are going to import from, now we are going to import from at Redux. So at Redux under toolkit, you can see this one here. So let's import that. The other thing inside here, we need to create slice. So we are going to have create slices. So you can be able to see this one, create slice. And inside here, that's where we are going to create our slice. So I'm going to have const and then user slice like that. And then here we can be able to just come and we have user slice, and then we can use now this function create slice. And inside here, this is a function that has object inside here. So we have an object inside here, and this is where we can be able to specify the name of that slice. So the name of our slice here is user. So if we had another slice, for example, for the product, we could have added here. So another thing that you need in that slice is initial state. So initial state here. So you can see even we have auto completion. So for initial state is also an object, and inside this object here, we can have, you are going to have something like current. Uh, so for example, current user. So we can have current user here. We are going to have the current user, and we are going to have it. The current user will be null to start with at initial state, and also we are going to have is fetching. So come if it's fetching. So if we are fetching, here also we are going to have false. So and we are also going to have error. So initial state we don't have error, so it is false. So after that, now we have the name. So in our slice we have the name, we have initial state, and the other thing that we need to have, we are going to have reducers, and you can be able to see those reducers right there. So here we can be able to have this also is an object, and here inside this object we can have now the reducers that we want. So these reducers are just like functions. So here is we have login start, and here we can take now the state of the login state, and then here we can be able, this is a function, and then inside here we can say something like state dot is fetching. So when the logging starts, the fetching here, so you can see the fetching, it will be false to start with. So let me just add here false, and then here we can have also the other one. So for example, we can have another reducer. So for this one will be login success if login is success, and that means that also the fetching will be false. But then again, here we need to say state dot current user like that will be actually assigned to action dot payload. So that is the information or the data of the user. And then also we are going to say something like, then here the state dot error will be false, because that means that we have not encountered any error. So here also we need to have a comma right there, so that we can see here we don't have this you can see here we don't have this error again. And also here I forgot to add action. So right here so the reducers here, you can see the function that we have here. We can have the state and also action. So for login success, that's when we have make sure that we have added the action, and then the action has payload, which is the data. So you can always imagine what the next function here will be, and that is login failure. So if we have our login has failed, so let's make sure that we have it here. So login failure, and here this is our function also. So we have our function here. So let's do that. So if I do this here, we can have the state, and then also we can, let's come here and add that here. So inside here now, I think here you already know what we need. We need to have a state dot is fetching, and then here we can be able to have it as false because it is not fetching. The other thing is if we want to have the error, so state dot error here, it will be false. So like that. So now we have the last one, which is log out. So log out. So let's see log out here. So this one is also very simple. So here we need to have a state, and we are going to make sure that here we need also to have a comma. So, and then inside here now, what we are going to do is we are going to have the fetching to be false. So state dot is fetching will be false. Also something like maybe for example something like a state and dot error here will be also be false. And then we are going to have state dot current user, state dot current user, like that. This one we are going to give it to be null. That's why, because we need to remove that state or remove that current user from our Redux toolkit. So you can see here we have this user slice here. So we need to make sure that we are able to export these functions because we are going to need them. So let me just come here, and then also we are going to export const like that, and then here we can just make sure that we export some functions from users. So user slice dot actions, like that. So, and then here now what we are going to do is to export them. So let's do that. So I'm going to export things like login failure, so you can be able to see them here. Login start, so this one, and then logout, and then things like we have logout, and then the other thing is login success, like that. So this four here we need to make sure that we can be able to export them. So, and then the last thing that we need to do is to make sure also that we can export by default. So export default. So let me come here and add export and then default, and then here we are going to export user dot reducer, user slice dot reducer, like that. And then now we have our part here that is our user reducer. So if we wanted another slice, we could have created another file that is called maybe parcel reducer, and then when we fetch the data from our backend, we are going to store that in our parcel reducer. But right now we don't need that. So the other thing that we need to do here is to create a store, because that is how the Redux works. So here we are going to have a store.js, like that. And then here we are going to, because I had already prepared my code here, so I'm going to just paste it here. This is not something that is very complicated. So let me copy this. So I'm going to copy it until this part here. So let me copy it and then explain. So this like there. So whenever you are creating a Redux state and you are using Redux, you need to have a store, and this store here is for any state that you have, either is a user Redux or maybe a parcel Redux. So you need to have this. So the other thing that you need is to make sure that here, or the first thing that you need to make sure is to persist your Redux or your store, that is, and that's why you can see here I'm importing all this part here, all these persist store, persist reducer, flash, rehydrate, pause, persist, purge, and register from Redux persist, and then I'm importing the storage from Redux persist live and then also storage. So here, if you check here, we need first of all to make sure that we create this here persist config, and here we have the key, so which is route, and the version is 1, and then we give it a storage. So there is only one part that I want you to notice, and this is you can see here we have this configure store, but in the inside here reducer we have user, which we have given it persisted reducer, which if you check here, this is the persisted reducer. So you can be able to see it here, persist config, and then user reducer right here. So now that is it. I don't want to intend to make sure that this video is longer. So I don't want to explain more than this, because also this is something that you can go and learn about Redux and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I'm going to close this page here. So another thing that I'm going to do here is now to create something that we call API calls. And then, so let me have a API calls here .js like that. And then inside here, so here for API calls, I'm going to import first of all Redux, or just the public request, sorry, public request. You can be able to see it there. The other thing that I'm going to import is now the function that we have in our user reducer, because now we are going to use it. So import that in, and we are going to import from, now we are going to import from, let me just add here user reducer, this one. And here we are going to import several things. For example, we are going to import login failure. So login failure, the other thing that also login success, and the other thing that we are going to have is login start. So like that. So now let's create now the function that will help us to log in our system, and then so export it. So we are going to have export here, and then const, let me just make sure that I have a space here, and then login like that. And in here we can have now first of all async, because this one will be asynchronous here. So, and then here we are going to have now the functionality for logging in. So we are going to have try catch. So try catch. So try catch. So try catch. And then inside here, what we are going to do is that we are going to accept first thing. So we are going to accept dispatch, and then dispatch is, it should be coming from user reducer or Redux, sorry. So this one is dispatch, and then user, we are going to pass it here. So this one we are going to have a const response, and then we are going to make a public request to now the dot post, and then here we are going to make the request to auth, and then login here, and then we are going to pass in now the user. And this function, it will be able to make sure that when you do that, it will save that user in our Redux, and it will persist that user. And I'm going to show you how to use that. So here I'm going to use now the dispatch. So the dispatch here, we are going to have a dispatch, and using dispatch we are going to have a login success. So login success here, and remember, because login success, we need to pass in now the data, which is res.data here. So the other thing is here we can console log, or maybe first of all things that we can do is to dispatch, sorry, we can be able to dispatch login failure. So login failure here, so like that. And also up here we need also to make sure that we can be able to just make sure that I call dispatch, and then here we can say login start like that, and then that is okay now. So we have login start, and then we have actually this one. Yeah, I think it's just okay. We can leave it here. So now we can use this login function here to be able to log in, because this function will be able to, we are going to just send dispatch from Redux, and then the user, the information here, and this one will be able to save that user in our login, in our Redux toolkit, and also persist. So the only thing that we have not done is that we have not done one simple thing, and that is coming to this main JS here, and there are some things that we need to change here. So when using Redux and Redux toolkit, you need to first of all make sure that here in the main.jsx, we need to import things like provider. So import provider from, need to import provider from React Redux. So you can be able to see it here. So here we need to have provider. So you can see the provider here. So the other thing that we need to import is store. So import, we need to import from, first of all, we need to import from, let's go to the Redux. So here we are going to Redux. So I think Redux is right here. And then also we are going to import now. This we are going to import from Redux, and then store. You can be able to see the store here. And inside here we need to import something like store, first of all. And also we need to get persister. So you can see we are exporting persisters from Redux and then store. So the other thing that we also need to do here is to import now the persist get. So import the persist get. So persist get from now persist, and then integration, and then React here. So that's something that we need to do. So in here now we need to make sure that inside here we can be able to make sure that we just wrap this in this app. We need to at least make sure that we wrap it using the provider. So here provider. So let me just make sure that I have a provider here. So we wrap the whole application here using provider, and also inside provider now we are going to use persist get right there, like that. And then now inside here, after persist get, now this where we can have like this React, if it is this React strict mode, and also we can remove this, and just remove it like that, and then you are going to be left with this. We have wrapped our application using provider and persist get. But here we need also to have our store. In our provider, we need to add our store, which is the store that we have from the Redux toolkit, or from our store, sorry. So the other thing here in our persist get, also we need to have some things like loading. So loading here will be set to null, like that. And also we are going to have something like persist persister, like that. So here we need to have a persister. So now let's make sure that we can be able to format my code here. So here I think we have one error. So this is here from React. So remove that React, and I think now this is okay. So I think let's go back into our application and see if it has any error. So it is loading, and I think it should not have any error. So, and then after that, now we can go to login and be able to log in using the information that we are going to collect from the email input and password input. So what we are going to do right here is to make sure that now we can be able to log in. And to do that, so let's close everything that we have here and open our login page. So let's do that. And here in our pages, we are going to have this login. And the other thing that we need to do here is to create the, here we are going to create the state for our email. So let's have email here. And then also we are going to have set email. And then here we can have use state. You just use state, and then we have the text here, and then you can see this is an empty text. So also we need to have, like for password, so const, and then here we have password, and then also we can have set password, like that. And then this one is use state. So use state here, and then here we can have that empty text, like that. So here I want to show you how we can be able to collect those information from our inputs, and this will be very simple. For example, this one here for the, this one for the email here, as you can see. So we are going to have an on change event here. So on change, and then here we can be able to say we get the event, and then here we are going to have set. So you can see set email, and then here we can have e dot target, and then dot value, like that. And this will be able to get our data from this this part, or this input that is called, so for the email, that is. So for the password here also we are going to do the same. So here we are going to have on change, and here we can have event, and then for this event here we can set now the password. So password, and also we can have e dot target, and then dot value, like that. So as simple as that. So we have those the email and the password. So the other thing that we need to do here is we are going to have a function here. So on click, because this is the event that we are going to need. And here, this one is handle, let's call it handle login, like that. And then I'm going to copy this. Let me copy that, and then I'm going to come up here, and then we are going to create a function here. So let me do that. I'm going to have this one here, like that. So here we need to have as a sync, like that. So the other thing that we need to do here is we are going to first of all check if we have email. So if we have email and password, because we don't want to just send something that is something that maybe we don't have any email, or somebody has not inputted any value in the email input and password input. So here we are going to now try catch here, and then here we are going to try and make sure that we are able to log in. So the first thing that you are going to do is to await, and then I'm going to use login. So login here should be coming from, so let me see, we are going to get the login from now the API calls. So let me just import it. So we are going to import here, let me import login. So actually let me see if I can be able to get it. So from, now we are going to import it from the Redux. So let me just come up here to the Redux, and then we are going to import it from API calls. So we are going to import login, you can see it there. And also the other thing that we need to import or to be able to use is let me just come here and import. So you are going to import like use dispatch. So use dispatch here. So let me first of all make sure that I import it from, so you are going to import it from React Redux, and you are going to need, so dispatch here. And the other thing that we are going to have is use selector here. So let me first of all make sure that I create the dispatch. So const dispatch right there, and then this one is coming from use dispatch function, like that. I think this is the way it should be as I read from the documentation. So this is the dispatch, and this is from now use dispatch. So here we are going to have now the login. So the login here, and here as we are waiting this one, we are going to pass now the dispatch. So sorry, so we are going to have the dispatch. We are going to pass in the dispatch, and the other thing that we are going to pass is the email and password, like that. And then also we can come back here to where we have the error and be able to maybe console log. So console log the error, like that. So I don't think this video, I don't want this video to be longer than this, now that we have actually made sure that in our login here we are able to create that function. So if you have reached here, just make sure that you are able to try and see if you can be able to log in. So in the next video we are going to continue from here and see how we can be able to display now the user's information after they have login. So and actually also again I'm going to make sure to show you to use selector here to be able to select a certain slice, for example for our slice which is user. So that is it. I don't want this video to be longer than this. See you in the next video. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like this video, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video.